1-0 victory over Juventus. For more on this, let's welcome in, shall we? Alexis Nunes joins us, who was at the game, Frank Leboeuf as well. But Stevie, overall, this was Real Madrid thoroughly deserved this.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you said it in the highlights where Gregorio stood on his head, made some great saves, made some good saves, made a lot of saves. And that's why Juventus sort of hung in there.
Yeah.
But really didn't offer too much. As I said, at the start of the game, Yildiz was busy. And obviously he put Kellerman through. But after that, they didn't really threaten that much. And 1-0 didn't tell the real story.
Like a home game for Real Madrid, Alexis?
Yeah, Dan, 100%. It was a home game for Real Madrid. I think the official capacity that we got was just over 62,000, which means that the Hard Rock Stadium was pretty much 95% full, but majority of them were definitely Real Madrid fans. They did provide a pretty good atmosphere as well. The poor Juventus players, when they came on, when they were warming up, anytime they touched the ball, they were met with just a flurry of boos. And then, of course, as you said, great reception for Kylian Mbappe. I almost missed it because I decided to take a bathroom break thinking Real Madrid pretty much had this under control by then. And then I just heard this massive roar. I ran out of the bathroom thinking it was another goal. And of course, only to see Kylian Mbappe coming on. But I would also say probably majority of the shirts that I have seen here that people have on, along with Jude Bellingham, have been Kylian Mbappe. So everybody finally got to see the big, shiny, slightly new signing for Real Madrid today.
Alexis, is it fair to say out of the teams that we've seen supported, obviously a lot of talk about the South American sides, but when it comes to the UEFA teams, Real Madrid are the most supported side that we've seen in this tournament?
Yeah, definitely. I think Real Madrid, you know, that power of that shirt. I feel like there's two teams, one being Manchester United, the other being Real Madrid, that you could go on any corner of this planet, overturn a stone. You know what I'm talking about, Dan, and you will find even tortoises will know who Real Madrid is. I remember doing the Supercopa de España in Saudi Arabia and just even seeing Barcelona severely outnumbered when it came to Real Madrid. The power that they have is very, very strong, and I think that they treated those fans to a bit of a nice show today. I think Real Madrid definitely peaking at the right time in this tournament. Of course, everyone wanted to see Kylian Mbappe, but Gonzalo Garcia was an absolute revelation. He has been. I think he's only gone one game so far in this tournament without scoring a goal, and he treated the fans to that today. Of course, he didn't get the loudest reception when the starting 11 was announced, but I think a lot of these fans definitely will remember his name after this.
Frank, who caught your eye today?
Well, the whole team, I have to say, to Real Madrid, I found them very solid. But I have to point Gonzalo Garcia, because at the end of the day, that guy scores goals and goals and goals, while Mbappe was injured. And now, today, Mbappe came back. But you have to feel sorry for Gonzalo Garcia, because he doesn't deserve to get out. The guy has been absolutely tremendous. So it says a lot about the competition that you're going to see. How it's going to work with Xabi Alonso this year. Will Mbappe, maybe Vinicius Junior will be on the edge, because those players are pushing to play games and are absolutely good when they come on. That's going to be interesting to follow. But that guy made a huge impact immediately, just signed, scored goals, and you will have to count on him and with him, for sure, definitely. So Mbappe will have to be very, very good.
What's interesting, I know it's not a pre-season tournament. I'm not saying that, but we've seen it in the past, Stevie.
Yep.
Kids from the Cantera, from the second team, being given a chance in these sort of situations, then rising, scoring goals, catching the eye, then all of a sudden the season starts and they're forgotten. Garcia is someone who scored 25 goals for the second team last season, desperate obviously to make his mark this year, has taken his chance when he can within this tournament. But as a coach, as Xabi Alonso, how do you know really how good he is when it comes to coming up against big teams in La Liga, for example?
Well, you don't. And you don't until...
So literally you don't. Literally, there's got to be some sort of instinct there, doesn't there? As a coach, you kind of get a feeling.
When a guy like Garcia does this in this tournament, regardless of what you think of it, you look to the future.
Right.
And when I say the future, I'm not talking about the first game of the season. You're looking at a guy who has shown that in the company that he's in, he can produce. But that is way, way short of trusting somebody to play centre forward for Real Madrid and start the first game of the season when you've got somebody like Kylian Mbappe or 2 or 3 others who you know are way up the totem pole compared to Garcia. So it's great to know that you've got a guy who, if you have injuries, you can maybe play him without being worried that he's not going to be out of place. But I would suggest right now, if everybody's fit, there is no way this kid starts in the first game of the season.
Frank, do players know? Do you get a sense of how high a teammate's ceiling is, like a Garcia coming from the youth ranks?
No, I don't think that. I mean, I'm pretty sure that most players were surprised. They knew that if you sign for Real Madrid, even if you play for the second team, you have a talent, you have skills, but you don't expect to have such an impact as he had. Yes, it's a tournament. We can, I don't know how can we rank it, but the guy plays for Real Madrid. You have a pressure when you play a striker in Real Madrid and you are good. It means a lot. Therefore, he has a future, as Stevie said. Yes, of course, he's not going to be launched and play as a striker, but Xabi Alonso will have to work psychologically to make sure that guy is still spot on, and every time he's going to come on, he's going to be influential. So, but for the others, they now know what the guy worth, and they're going to trust him. They're going to give him the ball. They're going to go for it, and they're going to support him. So I think it's a very good start for him.
It's interesting. Last time, of course, we saw Gonzalo Garcia in a big game was in El Clasico. We had that big chance, didn't he? Barca against Real Madrid. Trent, how are you rating him today, Stevie?
I've been pretty disappointed with Trent, to be honest. You know, I thought he would be vibrant, and I'm not quite sure that playing 3 at the back with him on one side particularly suits him. He got a lot of balls in positions that he would get with Liverpool, but he's used to having somebody on the outside that he can either roll it to or use them in order for him to stretch the defence or to play a pass.
He got an assist, Stevie, for the only goal of the game.
Well, again, I'm not so sure he picked anybody out. I don't think he was. Wow. He was trying to pick anybody out.
If he was playing for Liverpool, it'd be the best assist we've seen all season now, isn't it?
Well, I'm thinking.
It's a shame. It's a shame.
Do you want to keep trying?
I'm just disappointed that you just can't let it go. Just bitter analysis.
Don't ask the question if you don't want the answer.
Well, I'd like a fair answer.
I just think he gave the ball away too many times when he shouldn't have.
Meanwhile, for Alexis, for this game, it kind of had a bit of a friendly feel because Juventus, you feel, never really turned up, Alexis.
Yeah, do you know what, Dan? But I think Juventus will happily take this and go right back home or off on their holidays. Because remember the last time that we saw Juventus out there against Manchester City, they absolutely got toyed around with. And I think coming into this game, a lot of people thought, ooh, they're there for the taking, knowing Real Madrid, knowing the attackers that they have, knowing how deep their bench can go. And this time, Juventus showed up, and at least for the first half, they were definitely a lot more defensively resilient, but you could just tell they're still missing that extra quality in the final third. And Real Madrid were almost luring them to have a bit of a go, but the second half, Real Madrid came out and they absolutely punished them there, as you said. Trent, of course, I think Stevie's just a little salty because, come on, Stevie, he did get the assist. But again, as I said, if he were still in a Liverpool shirt, Stevie would absolutely be like, give him the Ballon d'Or for this. But again, Trent still taking baby steps, getting used to what is such a solid, and as Frank said, a team that carries a lot of pressure. And of course, the Real Madrid fans still out here in their numbers. But yeah, I think overall it did feel like a friendly game, especially for Real Madrid. They didn't need to go after it like they do in the regular season, but Juventus didn't need that. I think Mario said it yesterday, Juventus should use this game as a measuring stick because they know that they have work to do to get back to the Juventus of old. And I think now they know where they stand. They can be a bit more defensively resilient to not have a team like Manchester City blow them out of the water, but still a long way to go before they're able to compete with the likes of Real Madrid, even when they're not in their top gear.
Where to now, Alexis?
Well, we are trying to go to Atlanta because there's that juicy one between Bayern Munich and PSG. But word is we may get some time with Borussia Dortmund. We have yet to hear from them in this tournament, and they could be Real Madrid's next opponent. They're just staying at the hotel down the road from us, so we'll see if they let us in or if there's enough security to keep me out. But you know I'm a trier, so I'll get in.
Alexis, as always, thank you very much. Of course,